Welcome to the business of being healthy, where we are passionate about treating our health as good as we treat our wealth. Shelly Bryan here, and I am obsessed with sharing real-life experiences and wisdom to help save you time, heartache, and money as you continue to grow personally and professionally. Twice a week, we push aside that BS to take massive intentional action. And I promise by tuning in, you will receive the straightforward talk you've been waiting for, filled with actionable steps that will inspire you to achieve the health and wealth you desire while you are building your empire. Welcome back to another episode here on the business of being healthy. My name is Shelly and I am your host. I am incredibly honored that you're sharing some time with me today. And I want to dive right in because this is one topic that, let's say, has maybe been affecting you like it has me. Now, the first time I heard this was quite some time ago, and I don't think it really resonated with me at that moment in my life. Now I've been able to use this skill to clearly open up opportunities, allowing myself to see different experiences and different things that are happening without setting conditions to it. So that is what this episode is about today. It is about what conditions and or maybe stories do you have tied to certain activities, certain beliefs, certain things that you hold yourself true to, but that might actually not be true. So have you ever had something like, well, if I was born into this wealthy family, or if I had this education or experience, then and only then could I be wealthy or have the success that I want? Or maybe you thought from a different perspective, man, if I was born into this healthy body or I had better genes, then and only then could I be healthy. Or maybe if I had that special gift or that knowledge, then what I'm working on will work out so much easier. Or maybe you just have certain things. Like I'm going to share a couple personal ones that I've had that I've worked through, and I'm going to show you my exact process in how I work through these to open up the possibilities, to think outside the box, not just cliche, think outside the box, but actually give you the concrete tools to do so. So thoughts like these are an assumption that wealth or health or it has a condition to it. Right? It's like an if then, when the reality is the condition that we set or the story that we tell ourselves is completely independent and exists from whatever we are trying to attach it to achieve. So let me share this another way. Like I shared, this was from an old mentor, and he would say that we believe stories, and these stories hold us back from achieving or winning or becoming that person that we want to be. But the reality is that these are just stories. These aren't truths. Now, yes, of course, there are some that are truths out there, but more often than not, we have created the scenarios that have created these conditions that we set on ourselves, these stories that we believe, and that they have been holding us back for far too long. So when we have these conditions or these beliefs around these stories that we tell ourselves, they're always going to be there, right? They're always going to be there because we are expecting them to happen. It is like that if then, right? If we do this, then this happens, right? In order to have this, we have to have first go through this. It's not an if then. And in fact, the conditions need to be completely separate. You do not have to have X to get Y all the time. Now, stick with me here, and I will set this in for you nice and clear, hopefully, because this took me a little bit longer to get to. And this is something that the reason why I'm sharing it here on the show is because I know you're just like me. We're trying to become better. We're becoming better moms, better business owners, better leaders on our teams. We're climbing the corporate ladder. We want to be the better spouse. We want to be so much. And sometimes our conditions are our stories that come to are the thing that are holding us back. So for me, let me share. I'm going to share my first one, and then I have a second one. This first one is that business is hard. So literally, that is what was told to me my entire life. So guess what? Anytime I started a business or looked at different opportunities or was aiming to strive for that position when I was in corporate America, guess what? It was hard, because that's what I held true. That's a story that I held true to myself. So regardless of the opportunity that I was looking at, and especially once Chris and I became entrepreneurs ourselves, is that business is hard. I believed that you had to go through hard business in order to be successful. And anytime something would come up, right? Because inevitably it does, especially in entrepreneurship. Even I can think of so many times when I was in corporate America, I can think of so many times where things would come up and I'd be like, oh, see, there it is. It's hard. I knew it, right? So I was expecting it. Now, this is something that I've been working on for quite some time, right? I can give you examples from 15 years ago. And now, while it's still lingering sometimes, I can tell you that I have been able to remove the condition of the story I've been telling myself of business success is hard, that business is hard. I've removed that. So now when things maybe don't go as planned, as they often do, I can laugh at myself when I screw up, because it's not a definitive thing for me. I don't beat myself up when it gets hard. And when it gets hard, I'm like, okay, let's move on. It's a lot easier to approach different things when we remove the conditions that we are holding on them. Now, trust me, sometimes I get it. Our conditions are actually set by past experiences, past teachers, maybe the news, environment, social media. So when all of these things start happening, we start to think inside that box versus outside that box. We set those conditions to keep ourselves safe. Now, the challenge is that when we start setting these conditions for ourselves, it holds us back from our absolute true potential. Anyone knows that when you start thinking inside the box, there's such a bigger world outside the box. So as I've kind of shared this and you're tuning in, right? I hope that you are starting to maybe think about a few conditions that you're holding true to yourself. And you can think of one thing, maybe it's in business, maybe it's in a new endeavor you want to try, a new skill you want to learn. Maybe it's something centered around your health. And regardless of what it is, I want you to start thinking about maybe conditions that you've been holding true. And listen, I am no different than you. I still have some conditions that I am working on, yet I have already moved past others because I've been doing the work, and I want you to feel that same freedom that I have, that I know you can too. I want you to feel this experience and move past the conditions to achieving that which you desire the most. That's why I'm sharing my exact process in how I've been able to remove certain conditions and open up the opportunity to receive without an if-then. So first, as we keep going on right now, I encourage you, pause for a minute. Or if you're driving or running, maybe come back to this at another time and listen, because this is where you can really start taking action and removing those conditions or stories. But I want you to take a minute, jot down a few of those conditions that come to mind. Maybe it's, I can't be healthy unless I restrict carbs. Is that true? You're going to find out. Whatever those conditions are, business, health, family, mindset, goals that you want to achieve, start writing those down if you feel that they have a condition or a story that you hold to be true. Now, once you have your list, I want you to begin asking yourself these questions. And I'm going to share a personal example again taking you through this exact process. But the first question is, can this condition stand on its own? Meaning, can this condition survive on its own? Is it held true by everyone? If yes, then it's not a condition. It's a truth. I get it. But if no, keep moving down these questions. I want you to name somebody who has achieved without the condition so that you can see the condition as a story. The third thing is to drop and detach the condition from that which you want to achieve. I know it sounds like, oh, Shelly, yes, it's just that easy. Just drop it. This process is going to take you through it. And then number 4 is avoid judging or labeling things as right or wrong. It just is. When things come up in life, it's not good or bad. I talk about this when I was performance coaching for so long. We label foods as good or bad. Food is food, period. This experience in your business is an experience in your business, period. It is not good or bad. It just is. When you can remove that emotion, remove that labeling and that judging, that's where you're going to start seeing a lot of freedom. So let me take you through a personal example because this just recently happened to me. Literally just in Q4 of last year in 2022, is that I held the condition that I am too old to change my career. I was 42 at the time. I'm now 43 into this new year. So I went through number 1, can this condition stand on its own? Absolutely not. Let me go find and give examples of why this can't. Eric Yuan founded Zoom at age 41. Maybe you've heard of Zoom before. Stan Lee, right? Stan Lee created his first hit comic, The Fantastic Four, just shy of his 39th birthday. He's like Mr. Marvel. So amazing. Vera Wang, she was a figure skater and a journalist before she entered the fashion industry at age 40. 4D. And now she's a fashion icon. One of my favorites, Steve Carell. If you don't know Steve Carell, he's a comedian. He didn't land big roles until he became Michael Scott from The Office at the age of 42. So his big career started at the age of 42. So age is irrelevant to success. Now, I truly say I am 43, period. Not good or bad, not I am too old, not I am too old to have this success and change careers at this time. I'm 42, period. My job and your job is to simply have the clear vision on what our future is. Experiences, things, instances will come up without doubt. But it is our role to not judge them or us and remember it just is. And move on, staying aligned with our desired outcome. And do not attach a condition to it. So like I shared, this is something that I have been working on, and I know I've had numerous conversations with lots of other women, even men, where we hold these conditions based on our success. And again, whether that's success in your career, your health, your family, your relationships, all these conditions, we need to start questioning them. We really do, because they are holding us within the box, inside the box, and we need to move out. So I encourage you, if you are listening to this on the go, stop, go back to this 4-step process and really start diving into some of those conditions that you've been holding true, some of those stories that you have been holding as a truth that is just a story. Now, again, if you know someone else that may be doing this, you maybe heard this over a conversation, over lunch, over a business meeting, that they had a couple truths, and you think that this episode could help them, you really could be the hero in sharing it with them. And I would appreciate it more than you know. So one last thing I always love to say, and maybe this got me in more trouble in corporate America than not, but whenever anyone would tell me I had to do something in order to get the other thing, I would always look at them and say, really? Is that true? I may have gotten in trouble a few times asking that question, especially to executive management, but you know what? It challenged their thinking and it challenged my thinking to achieve at a much faster and higher rate. And I hope you do too.